Alleluia, 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 Alleluia. Your word is truth, O Lord, consecrate us in the truth.
Alleluia, Alleluia, Alleluia.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said, Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut the kingdom of heaven against men. For you neither enter yourselves, nor allow those who would enter to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you traverse sea and land to make a single proselyte, and when he becomes a proselyte, you make him twice as much a child of hell as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, If anyone swears by the temple, it is nothing. But if anyone swears by the gold of the temple, he is bound by his oath. You blind fools! For which is greater, the gold or the temple that has made the gold sacred? And you say, If anyone swears by the altar, it is nothing. And if anyone swears by the gift that is on the altar, he is bound by his oath. You blind men! For which is greater, the gift or the altar that makes the gift sacred? So he who swears by the altar swears by it and by everything on it. And he who swears by the temple swears by it and by him who dwells in it. And he who swears by heaven swears by the throne of God and by him who sits upon it. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! We can hear these words echoing in the ears of the listeners. They are named, so they can't not hear who they are being addressed. For you traverse sea and land to make a single proselyte, and when he becomes a proselyte you make him twice as much a child of hell as yourselves. We can just now imagine their reaction. We are not amused. But he doesn't back down. He goes into the casuistry used at the time and sums it all up. You blind fools. And on he goes with another category. You blind men. And these were the experts of the time, the professionals. And as he has put already in his teaching, they do have the authority of Moses and they have to be obeyed in what they say. And yet they come in for this heavy bombardment. Interesting. We don't often have preaching of this kind in our day. One wonders what the reaction would be if it came. In days of old, it's not that long ago, because I heard it when I was growing up as a Catholic, missions, parish missions, used to have that kind of tone. The experts would have been the Redemptorists, the Passionists, the Capuchins, and I did see the tail end of it in Italy, because it was still around, especially in the south. The Capuchins had something of that fire which they could use now and again if they wanted to give a clear message. I remember hearing a very moving sermon one time at St. Antimo on the Feast of St. Antimo, when precisely a Capuchin was invited to preach. The church was full of people, ordinary people from the area, and everyone was amazed to hear such power coming again from a Catholic priest in preaching. And it didn't lose any of its force. Why? Especially in a culture like Italy, people like a bit of colour and drama. And when they went to church in days of old, they'd find something of the entertainment value which now they get from the box, actually in church itself. Sermons were actually a whole cultivated art. We've lost it. Is it to our gain? How many sermons are remembered now? A sermon, if well preached, and if of dense content as well, has power to change time, therefore eternity. People were swayed. And it's come out in exorcism that one of the reasons why things are not being mentioned, which precisely in these popular missions were always mentioned, hell notably, and how to get there, is silenced not by human means. The devil has been obliged to admit under pressure in exorcism it's his doing, and the less that certain things are said, and notably certain places are mentioned, the more those certain places fill up. The candidates are not lacking. There's actually a priest in Dublin who was a late vocation, managed to get through Maynooth, surprisingly, and comes out with things like this even now. And one day he came out with this. He's in North Strand. Some people will tell you that hell doesn't exist. Well, I've got news for you, my friends. This is before the lockdown, the church was still full. Hell does exist, and it's open for business. People got the message. What use is there of leaving people where they're at the beginning of a sermon? And what use is a situation where people in the pew know more than the preacher and tell him what he must say or not say? They are precisely the tools of Old Nick, who's using them to do just what he wants. Let certain things never be said. Well, the Lord gives the model. You blind guides. You might say the same thing to us preachers now, who don't have the courage to do that we're there for. Queste parole sono le vere parole dette dal Signore. Si sente un po' la tonalità ebraica, figli della Gehenna, un'espressione molto giudaica, semitica, e sono precisamente quelli convertiti dai farisei che finiscono 2 volte di più, figli della Gehenna, dell'inferno dunque, di loro stessi. Non è un bel complimento per il lavoro dei farisei, però non è detto adatto, così come modello anche di predicazione per tutti i tempi. In esorcismo abbiamo saputo che il demonio ha detto che più si omette di parlare di certe cose, di certi luoghi, più questi luoghi si riempiono di anime, e dunque una congiura di silenzio, spinta da lui stesso, il non dire le cose come sono ormai nel pulpito cristiano.
For